ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ. Beloved Sangat, imagine, if you will, that life and death aren't opposites, but partners in an eternal dance, each step a rhythm of creation, transformation and renewal. Death isn't the grim finale we so often fear, but a teacher revealing the layers of illusion that binds us. First comes the inevitable physical death, which reminds us that the body is but a garment borrowed and shed. And then there's the death of ego, the quiet dissolution of the I into the infinite ocean of being. And yet, beloved Sangat, the most tragic of all is a spiritual death, a life lived severed from the divine, where the soul sleeps amidst the noise of material illusions. To truly live, divine wisdom is telling us to awaken from this spiritual slumber, to let go of ego before we die, before the body does, and to realise that beyond the veil of impermanence, we're one with the eternal melody of the Shabad, the word that never dies. Life, in its essence, isn't a linear journey from birth to death, but ever unfolding, a peeling away of layers to reveal what was always there, the infinite. Death comes to us in three profound forms, each a doorway rather than an end. At the first door, there's physical death, the cessation of breath and heartbeat. Here, Guruji reminds us that this is merely the dropping off the body, much like a snake shedding its skin. The body isn't who we are, but the vehicle we briefly inhabit. Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Raag Ramkali, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, Ang 885. The wind, the final breath, merges into the wind. The light of the soul blends into the light of the Creator. You see, physical death is a return to the elements, the great recycling of form into the formless. The mistake is to cling to this fleeting form, mistaking the waves for the ocean. And then, at the second door, more subtle and profound, there's the death of ego. The ego is the great illusionist, crafting a story of separateness and control. It convinces us that we're the doers, the owners of life, when in truth, we're like leaves carried by the current of the divine. To die to the ego is to awaken to the unity of all things, to see oneself not as a fragment, but as the whole. Raag Kirtans, Guru Amardas Ji, Ang 931. Ego is opposed to the name of the Lord. The two do not dwell in the same place. You see, the death of ego is liberation. For as the false self fades, the eternal self shines. And then, beloved, at the third door, we have the deepest sorrow of all, a spiritual death. This isn't the end of life, but the sleepwalking through it, a life lived disconnected from the divine. It's a state of forgetfulness, where the soul becomes entangled in the illusion of Maya, the fleeting glitter of the world. To be spiritually dead is to live in darkness while longing for light, to starve while surrounded by a feast. Yet this death isn't irreversible. Shri Guru Granth Sahib, Raag Kirtans, Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Ang 579. Death would not be called bad, O people, if one knew how to truly die. You see, the Guru's wisdom, the Shabad, can awaken the sleeping soul, guiding it back to its true nature. When we understand these three doors, these three deaths, life itself transforms. Physical death loses its sting, ego death becomes our liberation, and spiritual death is no longer feared but overcome. The Shabad teaches us not to resist death but to embrace it, for within every ending is a hidden beginning. Like a candle, we're consumed not in darkness, but to radiate the eternal light. As Guru Granth Sahib Ji so beautifully reminds us in Salok Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, Ang 1429, whatever has been created shall be destroyed. Everyone shall perish today or tomorrow. But beloved Sangat, what is truly ours? The divine essence neither comes nor goes, it simply is. And so to die well is to live well, is to see death not as an adversary, but as the ultimate guide, leading us home to the infinite, where we always belonged. Life in its grand unfolding is an invitation to dissolve illusions and awaken to our true nature. The divine offers us a luminous path through the Shabad, the divine word, which cuts through the fog of ego and guides the soul home. But to follow this path fully, we must confront death in all its forms, physical, egoic, and spiritual. For within the Shabad lies the secret to truly live. One must learn to die before the body does. Dying in the Shabad is transformative, transcending illusion. To die in the Shabad is to allow its divine melody to dismantle the false self, the homei, the ego, that keeps us chained to cycles of fear, desire, and suffering. The Shabad is more than words. It's the eternal vibration of truth, the bridge between the finite and the infinite. Through immersion in the Shabad, through meditation, recitation, and surrender to its wisdom, one transcends all three deaths, especially the death of ego. Shri Guru Granth Sahib, Rag Gauri, Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Ang 153, beautifully encapsulates this profound transformation. One who dies in the word of the Shabad shall never again have to die. Beloved Sangat, a profound truth is realized, and death comes no more. This death in the Shabad is not an end, but an awakening. The ego which thrives on separation and illusion dissolves, leaving only the radiant unity of the soul with the divine. What we thought of as self is revealed as a ripple on the vast ocean of oneness. And so, beloved Sangat, let's revisit these three doors of death, but this time in the guiding light of the Shabad. Physical death is often feared, but through the lens of the Shabad, it's seen as a natural return to the Creator. The Shabad teaches us that life and death aren't opposing forces, but part of the same divine rhythm. Shri Guru Granth Sahib, Rag Ramkali, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, Ang 885. The wind merges into the wind. The light blends into the light. The dust becomes one with the dust. You see, by immersing oneself in the Shabad, One sees physical death not as annihilation, but as the body's return to the elements, while the soul continues its journey, freed from attachment to form. The death of ego, or me, liberation in the Shabad. The ego creates a boundary between the soul and the divine, and when the Shabad resonates within, it shatters this illusion, offering liberation while alive. Jivan Mukti. The death of ego allows the individual to live as an instrument of the divine will, Hukum, no longer ensnared by its pride, fear or duality. Shri Guru Granth Sahib, Rag Asa, Guru Ram Das Ji, Ang 449. Those who die and remain dead while yet alive are said to be Jivan Mukti, liberated while yet alive. This ego death, guided by the Shabad, brings peace and freedom as the false I dissolves into the true essence of the self. And then we have spiritual death, the most tragic form. It occurs when one is disconnected from the divine, wandering in ignorance and suffering. The Shabad is the divine lifeline, awakening the soul from its slumber. The Guru's teachings are like a lantern in the dark, revealing the eternal connection between the soul and its creator. Shri Guru Granth Sahib, Rag Ramkali, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Ang 943. The Shabad is the Guru upon whom I lovingly focus my consciousness. I am the Jela, the disciple. You see, to die in the Shabad is to revive spiritual awareness, aligning one's life with divine truth and erasing the shadow of spiritual death. To die in the Shabad is to transcend all fears of mortality and loss. It's to realize that what dies was never truly you, the body, the ego, the illusions of separation. What remains is the eternal essence, the Nam, the divine presence, which is neither born nor dies. Shri Guru Granth Sahib, Rag Ramkali, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Ang 1429. From the air came the beginning. This is the age of the true Guru's teachings. The Shabad is the Guru upon whom I lovingly focus my consciousness. I am the Jela, the disciple. Speaking the unspoken speech, I remain unattached. O Nanak, throughout the ages, the Lord of the world is my Guru. I contemplate the sermon of the Shabad, the word of the one God. The Gurumukh puts out the fire of egotism. With teeth of wax, how can one chew iron? What is that food which takes away pride? How can one live in the palace, the home of snow, wearing robes of fire? Where is that cave within which one may remain unshaken? Who should we know to be pervading here and there? What is that meditation which leads to the mind to be absorbed in itself, eradicating egotism and individualism from within and erasing duality? The mortal becomes one with God. The world is difficult for the foolish self-filled manmukh. Practicing the Shabad, one chews iron. Know the one Lord inside and out, O Nanak. The fire is quenched through the pleasure of the true Guru's will. Imbued with the true fear of God, pride is taken away. Realize that He is one. contemplate the Shabad, with the true Shabad abiding deep within the heart. The body and mind are cooled and soothed and coloured with the Lord's love. The fire of sexual desire, anger, corruption is quenched. O Nanak, the Beloved bestows his glance of grace. The moon of the mind is cool and dark. How is it enlightened? How does the sun blaze so brilliantly? How can the constant watchful gaze of death be turned away? By what understanding is the honour of the Gurmukh preserved? Who is the warrior? Who conquers death? Give us your thoughtful reply, O Nanak. Giving voice to the Shabad, the moon of the mind is illuminated with infinity. When the sun dwells in the house of the moon, the darkness is dispelled. Pleasure and pain are just the same when one takes the support of the Naam of the Lord. He himself saves and carries us across. With faith in the Guru, the mind merges in truth, and then praise Nanak, one is not consumed by death. The essence of the Naam, the name of the Lord, is known to be the most exalted and excellent of all. Without the name, one is afflicted by pain and death. When one's essence merges into the essence, the mind is satisfied and fulfilled. Duality is gone, and one enters into the home of the One Lord. The breath blows across the sky of the 10th gate and vibrates. O Nanak, the mortal then intuitively meets the eternal, unchanging Lord. The Absolute Lord is deep within. The Absolute Lord is outside us as well. The Absolute Lord totally fills the three worlds. One who knows the Lord in the fourth state is not subject to virtue or vice. One who knows the mystery of God, the Absolute, who pervades each and every heart, knows the primal being, the immaculate divine Lord. That humble being who is imbued with the immaculate Naam, O Nanak, is himself the primal Lord, the architect of destiny. Everyone speaks of the Absolute Lord, the unmanifest void. How can one find this absolute void? Who are they? Who are attuned to this absolute void? They are like the Lord from whom they originated. They are not born, they do not die, they do not come and go. O Nanak, the Gurmukhs instruct their minds. By practicing control over the 9 gates, one attains perfect control over the 10th gate. There the unstruck sound current of the Absolute Lord vibrates and resounds. Behold the true Lord ever present, and merge with him. The true Lord is pervading and permeating each and every heart. The Divine Beloved is ever present, and this is your opportunity to surrender, to move from the finite hold to the infinite embrace. You see, beloved, you are never the singular wave. You're the celestial ocean, because through the Shabad we come to see that true life isn't bound by the finite. It's found in surrender, in living by the divine will, Hukum, and in merging with the infinite. To live a life guided by the Shabad is to let go of the illusion of control, to flow with the rhythm of creation and dissolution. It's to participate in the divine play, aware that the actor on the stage is never separate from the playwright. When we die in the Shabad, we awaken to the timeless truth that beyond the circles of form and disillusion, beyond the body and the ego, there's only the eternal. The Shabad doesn't merely prepare us for death. It teaches us to live fully, fearlessly and freely as part of the infinite melody of existence. And so we arrive at the heart of it all, where life and death are no longer adversaries, but two faces of the same infinite reality. In all great paths of wisdom, we're invited to dissolve the illusion of separateness, to see that what we call life and death are but waves on the surface of the boundless ocean of existence. Physical death, the shedding of the body, isn't the end. It's the soul slipping from one room into another. Ego death, that great undoing of the false self, isn't a loss, but a liberation. It's where we discover that the I was never more than a fleeting shadow. And spiritual death? The only real tragedy is but a sleep from which the Shabad, the divine word, can awaken us. To die in the Shabad, then, is the ultimate realization. That what we thought of as us, our fears, our attachments, our boundaries, were never truly real. What is real is the eternal vibration of the Naam, the divine essence, unchanging and infinite. Life, death and rebirth flow seamlessly within it. And in surrounding to its melody, we don't lose ourselves, we become the song. This, the Guru tells us, is the true victory over death. It's not to conquer it, but to transcend it, to dance with it, and to see it for what it has always been, a doorway into the infinite. Now, the question is, can you hear it? The eternal melody, the Shabad calling you home. Beloved Sangat, may we all find our way home. Please forgive my mistakes. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.